Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me this week. It is great to be here, and I will get started in just about 60 seconds. I'm going to allow just a couple of folks to join us, and I have some updates for you that I look forward to sharing. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to drop your questions now at the bottom, and then we will grab those questions to make sure that we cover those before at the end of this update. So please drop your questions at the bottom, please. Okay. And I'll just get started in about 20 more seconds. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Okay. All right, friends, let's get started. Um, Positioning my screen so I can see everything. Okay. Today is July 8th, 2020, and first I'll go over, as usual, coronavirus updates for this particular week. We'll talk about resource opportunities that are available. I'll talk about this past weekend fireworks. I'll give you an update on the Sheriff's Department. I will give you updates on street improvement projects and specifics as I promised last week. And then I'll also give you some information on upcoming COVID relief events. So I'll get started now. As of yesterday, the most recent coronavirus numbers in LA County are as follows. There are 120,539 confirmed coronavirus cases in Los Angeles County, including 3,579 fatalities. In Compton, there have been 1,711 confirmed cases and 25 deaths in the city of Compton. As you all are probably following, the United States has also reached 3 million confirmed coronavirus cases throughout our nation, and the numbers are rising. Hospitalizations are increasing and surging throughout the United States, and including California, that now has 6,000 people hospitalized. I just want to put a point there. I know that as the state allowed for phase 1 and 2 and even 3 to reopen in the state and obviously in the city of Compton, it's really critical that we continue our precautions. Please still stay at home as much as you can. Please social distance with people in your family and those that you know are coronavirus free. I know that it's difficult, but we must take these precautions so that we can, number one, stay safe, and that we can collectively get to the point to where we can begin to reopen our community. And so safety is paramount, and we are taking all precautions with the city of Compton to ensure that we do just that. I'll also take an opportunity to, actually, I'll talk about that later in terms, I will give an update on recreation in the city of Compton. Moving forward, if COVID cases continue to rise at the same new infection rate, which includes the increase of community transmissions, then we will have to actually go back to phase 1, and that's something that has been discussed at the state and federal level, back to those more stringent restrictions. So it's really critical that we flatten the curve and do all that we can to keep our community safe, and it's imperative. Also, in regards to COVID-19 testing, as I shared last week, there are 2 confirmed dates in the city of Compton for July for free testing in partnership with Assemblymember Mike Gibson, which is, one is tomorrow, July 9th, and the other is July 13th. Fortunately, people have signed up, and so all of the slots are completed, but we are now working on 2 additional testing dates, and then also an additional activation for testing with the local healthcare provider. So more testing will be made available to you all. I will share weekly as we make those updates as well. And then I'd like to just flag for you that CVS on Central is now offering free coronavirus tests in the city of Compton. You can actually go to their website to book a free test. And so this is appointment only, and they have first come, first serve, but they do have a supply of free tests for Compton residents. There's also drive-through testing still available at MLK Hospital. We also, as I said, we had an event last week, a couple weeks ago, called By COVID, and we were set to test 1,000 people. About 685, give or take, were confirmed and tested. We only had a 3% positive rate, which was a blessing, but the remainder of those tests will be working with the service provider locally to facilitate an additional testing opportunity for you all. So we'll continue to keep coronavirus testing available in our city, and I'll keep you up to date on that. Transitioning into fireworks, I believe we had the most fireworks activity in Compton's recent history. I can't remember, at least within the last 10 years, where we had more fireworks on July 4th. I do want to share that we received a report from the Sheriff's Department in yesterday's council meeting. They provided a very in-depth presentation, and I'll just extract a couple data points for you all to understand what happened with fireworks. So in terms of the number of citations that were issued, there were, and I'll break them down by district. In District 1, there were 11 citations. District 2, 10 citations. District 3, 12. And District 4, 23. So they gave out approximately 50 citations totaling $46,000 in fines were given out to people that were using illegal fireworks. I'm also pleased that there were not any issues of, at least reported currently, of people unfortunately losing limbs, which almost is a every year activity, well, not activity, but a situation that happens unfortunately as a result of illegal fireworks. So happy about that. I am also pleased to report that as we increased the fines this year, it also gave the municipal teeth for law enforcement to provide those monetary fines. There is a public hearing scheduled for July that we will revisit the fine structure and also make additional increases based on what we were able to extract from other cities. And the goal is to heavily penalize illegal fireworks because they are very dangerous, and so I will keep you all updated on that. And then in the public hearing, there's an opportunity to just voice your opinions on fireworks. We've had several iterations of we actually had an election in 2009 to decide if fireworks were going to be made illegal. The people of Compton that voted, they voted to keep fireworks legal in Compton. We have had several public hearings over the years, so this is another public hearing. We almost do the public hearing annually just to get a feedback from the community as to whether or not they want to continue fireworks. So I will notify you all of the date of the public hearing so that you can email your comments or log in and make your opinion known on fireworks, because we're here for you. This is your community. So if people overwhelmingly want to ban fireworks as a whole, we'll do just that. And if there's support to continue with legal fireworks, we'll do just that and continue with heavy enforcement. So another opportunity to weigh in there. Moving forward on the Sheriff's Department, this morning information was released about the autopsy report for Andreas Guardardo. Excuse me, I don't know why I have a hard time saying his name, Guardardo. And unfortunately, it was confirmed that he was shot in the back 5 times and died of gunshot wounds. And it was also reported by the news that there were no drugs or alcohol in his system. And so that is the latest on his particular case. The sheriff Villanueva had sealed the autopsy records, and as he said, for safety. But I'm happy that that is finally released and that people have that information and are able to move forward with the investigation process. As of yesterday, the city attorney, Damon Brown, and I issued a follow-up letter to the sheriff regarding Mr. Guardardo, and then also the incidents with Dalvin Price, as well as other follow-up items to the actual sheriff town hall that we had last Monday. And so we will actually release that letter to you all this week to keep you all in the loop on that. And I will also share with you all any updates or responses that we receive from him. And I want to put a pin there. I know that Andreas Guardardo, he was not a Compton resident and he did not die in Compton. And the city of Compton's law enforcement contract did not pay for or facilitate those deputies. However, those deputies, they do work physically out of Compton Station, as we're one of the regional nodes that service all of the county islands. And so We thought it was necessary to speak up on this issue as we had protesters. Actually, it was a peaceful protest until there were rubber bullets that were issued by the sheriff's department as well as other deterrents. And so we did identify with the sheriff that we do not support or endorse that type of force with protesters here, and we are working to be able to implement some additional policy reforms to be able to specify how we operate with law enforcement in the city of Compton. Also, for those of you that may have missed last week's update, we also approved a law enforcement review board, which will be comprised of residents of Compton and other stakeholders to be able to work through a policy agenda that will be forwarded to us for implementation and tied to the city's law enforcement contract. We are a contractor, we contract directly with the Sheriff's Department for law enforcement services. They are an independent entity, and we do not govern the facilitation of any personnel, law enforcement. We do not hire deputies, we do not fire deputies, but when instances arise, we have to go directly to the source, the decision maker, which is Sheriff Villanueva. So we will continue to work on this particular issue and keep you all up to date. And then also, we'll be bringing forward a youth component. I believe young people should be a part of this dialogue as they're also impacted by law enforcement. So we will continue to keep you all updated on this policy vehicle and the work that we are looking forward to commencing. Also, relating to homelessness, I'd like to provide some updates. As you all know, I shared we did some work on the homeless encampments along the Alameda corridor, which is the Alameda Street Railroad line. And they are actually on schedule to begin abating that just entire encampment that's along the rail line beginning on July 22nd. So I'd like to just thank our city management staff for their work and working with the rail lines. As you all know, we did actually threaten some legal action on the rail lines to be able to get the type of service that we need. We will continue to keep you all in the loop on those activities. They'll be doing an assessment next week to identify exactly how long the cleanup will take. And then we're also partnering with HOPIX and LASA, which are our homelessness service providers that will be on site to provide rapid rehousing, wraparound services, and other meet other needs of that population as we're cleaning up that particular area. So people won't just be pushed out to someplace else. We'll be working directly with our service providers to rehouse these individuals and also get them the care and the services that they need. So we'll keep you up to date on that. Secondarily, I also requested that we move forward with an actual maintenance agreement with our rail lines. We are currently serviced by Alameda Corridor and also Union Pacific. And then also the Blue Line, which is Metro. So we are proceeding forward with some reimbursement agreements so that when there is a need to clean up trash, the city does not have to expend your tax dollars to clean up something that is under another jurisdiction and their right of way. So we are working through that so that we can keep the area clean, safe, and that we do not double expend your tax money on issues that other entities have the responsibility to address. So moving forward on that, I look forward to keeping you in the loop on that. Also, I'd like to talk about, lastly, I failed to mention on the homeless encampments. There's also homeless encampments along the freeway on and off ramps. We reported this to Caltrans, and Caltrans, I'm happy to report they did provide the city of Compton for the first time ever a maintenance agreement for all of the interchanges on and off ramps that service Compton. This maintenance agreement, we will publish it on the city's website. We just received it last week. I had a few questions, and we'll get the final version published by next week. We also are working with Caltrans to do some just beautification. We deserve the same beautification as other communities, and so we are identifying what our priorities are to enhance the freeway on and off ramps with Caltrans. So I'll keep you all in the loop on that. And then also I'm pleased to report that HOPIX will also be going out to those locations with homeless encampments to provide them with services, as well as ensuring that they have access to COVID testing as well. So we will begin to address the homelessness areas along the freeway with Caltrans and our service providers. So keep you all in the loop on that. I have an update for 1801. So 1801 CIP, or capital improvement, is underway. It is a $6 million reconstruction project that will cover 7 very lengthy and majorly utilized thoroughfares or secondary streets within the city of Compton. Myrrh, Grandy, and many others are included in 1801. I give you all updates on this weekly. As of now, they are completing the curbs and gutters on Myrrh Avenue, or Myrrh Street. And once the curbs and gutters are completed, they will go to the other streets within this project, do the same thing, and then they'll start doing the grading. So they'll do all the same type of work at the same time so that they can go faster and we can save money on the project and get it done. So this project is scheduled to continue all the way until October, so we will keep you all updated on this. There are many linear miles that are addressed, and this will be very extensive. I also shared that I will provide you all with an update on the Grind and Overlay program, which is also a very extensive program, which includes Tucker, 129th, Victoria intersection in Wilmington, Compton Boulevard, the area. So Compton Boulevard Phase 1 was completed from the eastern area to Alameda. There's also the easternmost portion that is under contract with the county, which I'll also share with you all about the status of those streets. But the second phase of Compton Boulevard is currently under reconstruction, but in the meantime, we are still going to stabilize Compton Boulevard, and we're still going to stabilize Wilmington because again, as these streets are currently under redesign, we still need to repair them so that you all can travel these streets safely. We will be moving forward with full reconstruction of those streets as soon as the design is completed. We have an estimate that Wilmington and Compton Boulevard redesign should be completed by the holidays, and so we can begin planning for full reconstruction of the remainder of those phase 2 and 3 streets at that time. But I will keep you all in the loop on that. Also, 132nd Street, Mayo, and Chester, from Alondra, actually from Greenleaf all the way to Compton Boulevard, also will be addressed in this next wave of Grind and Overlay projects. And so Grind and Overlay projects include the entire street. They are guaranteed to last between 10 and 15 years. They have a guarantee on that. And so these are extensive repairs. They do not include the curbs and gutters. That will be a secondary program, but some of these areas have already had the curbs addressed under different programs. And so we are scheduling a very extensive public works workshop for you all, just to get everybody up to date on where we are. There's many people have kind of tapped in to get involved at different points, and it's important to understand, number one, the condition of our street system, the amount of money that is necessary to address the entire street system, where we are with drawing down those funds, current projects that are completed, which ones are scheduled, why, prioritizing areas around schools or other high trafficked areas, as well as other just beautification improvements. So we'll be making improvements to the medians, we'll be making improvements to our parkways. So we're doing full and complete streets in the city of Compton, and we'll have a workshop so that you all can get all of that information. You'll have some project schedules, you'll have estimates of street projects, and we are currently, as of right now, we're currently scheduled to have just continuous road work going on for the next several years. And so, as I shared with y'all a couple of weeks ago, the council also approved a $45 million financing plan, which will not raise any taxes. This will just give us the ability to leverage the money that we receive on an annual basis to do more projects quicker so that you all don't have to wait. And so that program is moving forward on a September schedule to draw down. And we're also actually looking at some additional additions of Measure P to actually do even more than that. And so that will currently address our entire street system, and we'll have you all with some great timelines and schedules, and you'll be able to see that continuous work. So that is the street update. And lastly, we're still repairing potholes, we're still making improvements, so that all of that work will continue, but I just wanted to go into more detail on some of the reconstruction projects that we have happening right now. And then time-wise, the Grind and Overlay is scheduled to start the last week in July. So I will give you all the final update once we receive it from the contractor. Also, I'd like to take this time to touch on our water system. Many of you may have seen a video that kind of went viral from Moonwater Farms that had kind of a brown or yellowish water at their location. And I'd like to just give you all an update of what actually occurred. So on June 21st, we had power failures on 2 wells in our system. This resulted in discolored water because the water had to be rerouted to the affected areas from another area of the city. So we have, number one, Compton is obviously we're a city, but we have Compton Water services a certain area, and then we have 6 other water companies that service the city of Compton. So I'm speaking specifically to the city of Compton's water system. And so because the power failed on 2 of the wells, we actually had to push water from a different area that usually isn't used. It's a backup device, and so it actually kind of drew down some sediment that are in the actual pipes. And because our system is so old, the majority of the system is over 60 years old. We have capital improvement programs that are occurring continuously that was actually approved in 2009 by the voters. There was a bond that was issued, which subsequently increased our water bills, and many of you all know about that. But to make a long story short, there is a more extensive report coming forward that we requested from our water department that will complete an assessment of where we are now, and then it also identify additional capital improvement projects for this year and then the years to come. So you all have a snapshot about, number one, all the improvements that have occurred over the last 10 years, and then you'll have a snapshot of all the projects that are currently scheduled, so that are already permitted and funded, and then you'll also have an idea about the percentage of the system that must be addressed. And so we'll talk about that once we receive that information. But I can tell you that our water quality is excellent. We actually have a great water composition with our minerals. Compton is one of the only cities that has its own water table. We're really blessed in that because of the minerals that are in our water table, they matriculate up to the soil, which is really why Compton has really rich soil, because of all these factors. And so many people have asked, well, is the water tested? Yes. By law, we have to test our water regularly. We actually test on a monthly basis. And if you go to the City of Compton's website, you can actually download reports on your water so that you can read for yourself the water composition. We definitely have hard water in Compton. That's one of the drawbacks, but it's a very safe water from what I've been able to determine. I actually drink Compton water. I have a water filter. So I actually drink Compton water in the city of Compton. So if there was something wrong, I definitely would tell you. There's no cover-up going on here. I don't think there's anyone in the city that would have anything to do with any type of contamination, but if there's an issue, we will definitely notify you. There's also, we have an emergency notification system that we will definitely utilize. And I just want to encourage you, if you all have just 1 minute to just go to the city's website today and sign up for our emergency system notification, and that way you can get text messages when there are emergencies in the system. We will be notifying residents if there is a breakdown in any aspect of our water system, so that you are not surprised by what you see. But this is something that does not happen regularly. We don't anticipate it happening regularly. And we will continue actually with the maintenance of our system. So we do regular flushing and all of that on a regular basis. So you all have more detailed information. If you want to actually listen to the report that was provided by the water department, please tune into last night's council meeting. It's in sections, so you actually can go to the verbal report section and you'll get some additional information. So that is that on water. Also, I was alerted that there have been a few water fundraisers that have been held for Compton. So family, let me think about how to say this. We want to ensure that, number one, if there was an issue, we would definitely address that. But the media and the people, in this machine, they love to paint Compton in a certain light. And so it sounds good that, Compton is similar to Flint. This is not a Flint situation. We have our own clean water table. We don't have to actually even worry about a secondary source or outside party treating our water. This is an actual naturally occurring water reserve. So we're really blessed here in Compton. So this is not a Flint situation. We do have old pipes because our city is very old. Our city is over 130 years old. And the majority of our system, as I said earlier, is about at least 60 years old. So we are constantly updating the system, but this is not a Flint situation. And when I hear that people are doing fundraisers to help Compton get clean water, it's just kind of it's unfortunate. Beware of those people that have their own angles and agendas to just share bad news about our city. It's all. I won't even get into detail on this particular update because it's a standard city update, but I'm going to table discussions like this for our Compton family meeting that I promise you all that I will have, and I'm actually going to schedule it for this Sunday because I have some additional reporting that I need to do. So I'll go into more details on things like that, but again, we can't get into the rumor mill and sharing bad news about the city that we love and live in. So I want to just make sure that we stick to facts only, and when there's a need to clarify, we definitely will do that. Also, we do have a few upcoming events for COVID relief, and we're pleased to partner. Actually, once again, the Pentecostals of Compton and Compton Advocates will be hosting a food pantry from tomorrow from 4 to 6 p.m. at 336 East Rosecrans. The Pentecostals of Compton, they've been doing a food pantry for some time now, and they do it twice a month. And so it's actually this Thursday, tomorrow, from 4 to 6, and they're located at the southeast corner of Rosecrans and Alameda, so right near the bridge they're located, and they'll be servicing Compton families. The Compton Food Pantry is continuing their operation. They're servicing an average of 500 residents per day, which includes their weekend demand. They also are working with 5 churches to do mini pantries for their particular neighborhoods, and they're also still doing meal deliveries for seniors. So they are servicing our senior homes as well and making sure that they have fresh food packages on a weekly basis. So if you all need additional information, please visit our website. You can go to comptoncity.org/covid19.asp to access our resource guide, and it lists all of the different community organizations that are doing work with COVID relief. So there's no reason for people to not have food and basic supplies in the city of Compton. There's resources all around, and we're thankful for that. Also, I'd like to encourage you all to please just, again, tap into the City of Compton's council meeting when you have an opportunity. Because we're Zoom now, we are working out the option to actually broadcast live to Facebook too. So we'll be able to make sure that you all have some firsthand information on that as well. But I will keep my weekly updates going. It's kind of like the cliff notes about what's going on in the city of Compton, and I also appreciate being able to give you all follow-up on items that we discuss. And if there is not, actually, I'd like to just touch briefly on Parks and Recreation. I did receive a couple phone calls and just notifications for people wanting to know what's going on with Parks and Rec. So the city of Compton, as you all know, unfortunately, we're impacted by the economic realities of the COVID-19 pandemic. We had to reduce our budget by $5 million, and those were real cuts. And we subsequently had to lay off several staff members from the city of Compton. About 40 plus people were let go, unfortunately, and the majority of those people came from Parks and Recreation. Now, Parks and Recreation, we are prevented from operating any recreation activities by the county health department until April 2021. And so we could not actually employ people that were not able to work with your tax dollars. So hopefully that just gives you all some clarity. This is not about eliminating Parks and Recreation permanently. This was a budgetary decision that we could not continue to pay people that were not actually able to work for almost the entire fiscal year. We operate in fiscal years in the city, and so we are actually starting, our new fiscal year starts July 1. So this is kind of like our January. So obviously we're July 1 through June 30th. So if Parks and Recreation is not able to operate, and this is just an estimate of April, it could be longer. So we couldn't just pay people for nearly an entire year. But as part of the particular layoff provisions, if we're able to open up sooner, or we're able to actually open up sooner or open up and we're able to identify funding, then we'll restore those employees that were impacted. But this was a budgetary reality, and it's also just a practicality that we can't pay people that are not working with your tax dollars. So hopefully that gives you all some clarity with Parks and Recreation. But we're using this time to really gear up for a robust just reimagining of Parks and Recreation in Compton. we look forward to having robust sports programs as well as enrichment. We're working on, we have some people that want to do some things with tech, and so there's just a lot happening that we're preparing for when we're able to open, so we're not just dormant, we're using this time to come back stronger. We'll also be issuing a request for partners, which we will be able to identify nonprofit organizations or different service providers that will also be able to service the Compton community in the areas of recreation. We'll also be considering other opportunities as they're available to do things with young people throughout the year. Last week we actually had a great tournament, a video game tournament with Microsoft, and we had kids that participated in that. As I mentioned, we're going to be doing some things in coding, so there'll be opportunities to do some recreation even virtually, but we're just not able to have physical locations and staff those. So hopefully that gives you all some clarity on that. And then lastly, I'll also share the graphics in our State of the City address. So we are preparing a virtual State of the City, which will give you all detailed information on where we are as a city, what our challenges are, our opportunities. You'll understand upcoming projects. As I mentioned, I've been dropping breadcrumbs about downtown Compton because it's going to be amazing. So we'll share more details about downtown Compton. We'll share other development projects that are in the pipeline, as well as just where we're going as a city over the next several years. And then I'll also be identifying opportunities for you all to hold your leadership accountable as we move forward in areas that we all have approved to support. We want to continue on to ensure that your leaders are representing your interests, and I believe that a part of that is giving you all information that you can hold on to in writing and then check back. That's time bound, so that will be one of the main objectives of the State of the City address. So we're working on that. Obviously, COVID-19 kind of slowed us down, and we had to actually just really pause and see what the new reality for the city of Compton is before we began to present information to you all. So this will be an on-time and accurate snapshot of where we are. And then there will be a small asterisk that if the shutdown continues, we may be further impacted. But I'll make sure you all have all the information that you need, and we'll move forward from there. And if we don't have any questions, I'm going to check my chat to see if you all have something that was not covered. I don't see anything that came in. But if you all, I usually go back and answer questions, as you all know. I'll do the same this week, and if I see something that I need to answer, I will. And if there's something that I need to raise publicly, I'll do that as well. So thank you all for tuning in this week. I look forward to updating you all next week. And you all continue to stay safe, be blessed, and please just do your part to keep our community safe from COVID-19. I know that as the shutdown started and people kind of tended to be more cavalier about it, I know that many of you are either know people personally or know of people that have been personally affected or possibly even affected in your own families with COVID-19. So it's a very serious, real, and highly contagious virus, and so we need to do what we can to protect our families. So thank you all so very much. I look forward to tuning in next week. Stay blessed, and I will see you all soon. Take care.